Hello everyone, welcome to the interview with Bernie Su for BooksDotCon, an online convention about books, stories, and everything writing related. Bernie, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
For those who don't know your work, could you tell us a bit about your projects?
Yeah, sure. I'm most known for being one of the co-creators and the head writer of the Lizzie Bennet Diaries. I also created the subsequent series Emma Approved. Both of these were books based on Jane Austen novels. Also co-created the series Frankenstein MD. Those are my most known works that have been out there for sure. So kind of in this realm of it taking classic novels and adapting them into kind of new formats, as we'll say.
What made you want to be a writer and a producer? Do you have any academic background in these areas, or was it something you've always wanted to pursue regardless?
I've always wanted to be a storyteller, and I guess kind of went from there. I didn't know I wanted to be a writer until way kind of after college, and then I decided that I figured out I want to be a writer for bigger stories. So I didn't want to say write movies. Not that I didn't mind writing movies, but I just think, like a show like Lizzie Bennet Diaries or a TV show is much longer than a movie is, and so you get more time to play with your characters. And I really enjoy, telling stories.
Mm-hmm. What led you to develop interactive projects such as this, such as Lizzie Bennet Diaries and Emma Approved? What sparked that concept?
Well, so I had been working online for a while, mainly writing for this kind of web series, which is fine, and Lizzie Bennet Diaries is certainly a web series. And then I met Hank Green one day, the fabled Hank Green, and he brought up the idea of the thought of, can you adapt a book into a YouTube series? And so by YouTube series, well, that's a little different than just say taking a movie and chopping up in 2-minute pieces. That to me says, when it says YouTube, it says interactive, it says multi-platform, it says talking to the camera. It says these things that for example, Lonely Girl 15 that just turned 10 like a few days ago, like pioneered in many ways as far as storytelling goes. So, and we're seeing that every day with the big YouTubers of the day. So can you tell that classic story into that realm, that same realm?
Mm-hmm. The community obviously plays an enormous part in projects like this. Were you surprised by the reaction to Lizzie Bennet Diaries?
Yeah. It was very surprising. None of us who started the show, none of the actors, none of the writers, none of us thought that the show would be the level of hit it was, and I don't think anybody could really predict that. It really is a special case, and it was an example of everything working. Like, everybody just really cared about the project, and no one cared about, their egos were secondary to the quality of the work, and great, rightfully so. We all went into that project trying to tell not just a video blog adaptation, but we're trying to tell the greatest story we could, off of one of the greatest stories ever told. So we were very precious on making it good, and I think that quality showed.
It definitely did. What's the general process of developing something like, say, the Lizzie Bennet Diaries, from the first idea to writing it, producing it?
Well, the good thing, why people talk about adaptations, and the great thing about adapting something is that generally the skeletal structure of the narrative is in place. So you have a very, ideally, something especially that's like stood the test of time, like the Pride and Prejudice, as a really solid narrative structure that's been beloved and loved and over generations. So you don't need to mess with anything there. You have this base. So then it's really about what you are doing and saying to that story, and what are you saying? What are you going to say that's different in your version than the other one? Books are great books, and videos are good videos, and then not necessarily anything that's good on the page of the book is going to be good on the video, and that's a different format, and that's just the game. So you have to find those places. So, for example, I'm just going to say I was a little like confused by how they did, say, Hunger Games. But I mean, they had a really tough place to go from because so much of that novel is in her head. You know, it's
Yeah.
Katniss thinking about stuff, and you don't really get any of that in any of the
True.
movies. Like none of it, and so it's like a completely different experience. And that's fine. It's fine. It is more about world building, but I don't know. I guess it was a little. It wasn't as clean as I wanted that adaptation to be. And then, so for Pride and Prejudice, going back to Lizzie, it really was about taking the kind of the touch points, because so much of it is from Lizzie's point of view, and we kind of just went with it because, you know, she's the one talking the whole time. So we actually even made it more from her point of view than
Exactly.
even more. So so that was our kind of take on it, and it allowed us to do a lot of things, I think, stronger in the format, just because we could show stuff. But it also had us miss some things. So, for example, we not even completely miss it. We had to kind of do like Darcy's letter a very different way than we could in the books or in the movies, for example.
Yeah. What about the technical side of things? How do you produce something like this for the web?
Well, that's film production. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of organization. It's a lot of planning, and it's a little trickier. I think, you know, when you're writing in prose, I mean, you essentially can do it all yourself. And granted that you know, Hank and I had discussed a possibility of basically doing having one person do everything, which I think would have been real difficult because that person had to do all the writing. You know, could in a world could Ashley Clements had done the whole thing by herself? Sure. You know, played all the characters by herself. Sure. You know, she could have done it. I like the way we did it. I think it was stronger, and I think that the support of our writing team, which was pretty big, like we had a you know, at our peak we had a 7-person writing team. So we had a lot of support to cover each other, to kind of people go. We would turn in scripts. I would turn in a script, or they would turn in a script, and we as a group would workshop it or kind of give notes on it, and so it became to the point where everyone kind of looked out for each other, which was a good place to be.
It is, really. What do you think are the biggest challenges of adapting classic stories to such modern mediums, whether with Pride and Prejudice, Frankenstein, Emma?
It really depends on. Well. All right. Well, classic. If you're doing it straight, as in you're staying in the same period, then the biggest challenge is probably setting in that period, because those are. If you're doing it like we do when we modernize it,
yes.
Then the biggest challenge is how do you modernize it? So with Frankenstein, for example, you know, Frankenstein, the book is all about electricity, like electricity, and it does this and does that. And electricity is a 200-year-old technology in medical science. It's not older. I mean, I'm just saying that because I just think it's 200 years old. It could be way older than that. And today electricity is like, it's kind of like, yeah, that's like day one. I don't know if it's day one, but it's like, yeah, it's like day one medical school. So we had to find different ways to talk about modern medical science, and we had to do a lot of research. So that's why we used to look at those episodes in Frankenstein, especially the first 16, and primarily episodes, say, like 10 to 12, 15. Like, it's all about like this advanced sciences. It's about like cloning and like stem cells and like 3D printing and like all these modern things we're doing today. And we're finding ways to have those things inform the story. So that's probably the hardest part of it.
Is there anything you would have liked to know before starting all of this as a creator?
No, actually, no. I kind of enjoyed how it went. And I say that, you know, like there were things that were difficult from the experience, but I think the difficulty of it helped inform the quality of the shows, if that makes sense. So like the adversity made us stronger, you know? Mm-hmm. So whether it be the difficulty in how do you adapt it, the pressure of doing 2 videos a week for like 50 weeks in a row, if not more, the pressure of doing Pride and Prejudice, the pressure from the fans who love the shows and everything. So, you know, it's good. It's a good pressure, but it's still pressure. these are the things that were pushing us, and I'm glad we didn't know about these things in the beginning, and we kind of went with it and went. So I don't think I'd change anything. I mean, to be honest, I don't think I think the shows ended up being ended up being quality shows, as good as they could. And you as a viewer, or viewers watching this, have totally the right to critique it. You can say what you didn't like or liked about it, and that's fine. But that's how I look at the experience.
It makes sense. It does. Your projects have a natural diversity, and they are very female-centric. Was this a conscious decision?
Yes. It's a conscious decision. Well, it's a conscious decision for two reasons. For diversity, I mean, because since I'm driving so far, or at least I had been, and the people who work with us have also who kind of grown up in a very diverse America. Like, not all of America is diverse. A lot of America is diverse, but not all of it's diverse. And we grew up in a very diverse America. Like, I even say, like, now the county that I grew up in today is actually very, very kind of Asian American cultured, which was not what it was when I was growing up. As a high school kid, and there was a good percentage of Asians, but it wasn't like that. So even like that changes. So I grew up in a very mixed culture town, and so to me, I saw every color. I saw some more than others, but I saw every color. And to me, that's what America was. I was ingrained with this whole diversity thing, and America is the uniting of people and all countries coming together. And it's like I kind of bought into that. And so that's what I saw as that. As far as the female part goes, well, Lizzie and Emma were both female shows. Those characters started female and remained female. Frankenstein is where we changed it. For Frankenstein, I think there was a lot of reasons for doing that. I can't really pinpoint which one was the one that changed it. We always talked about should we do it that way, and it was partially a mix of the existing Pemberley audience, PBS wanting to appeal to more females, and it'd be just far more interesting. I just think this was far more interesting to have it be a female doctor. It just informed everything differently. It informed like medical sexism, and it informed like it just made the whole kind of base of the narrative more interesting to me, to everyone, to the creators, and it was a good result. I think. Whether or not you liked Frankenstein MD, whether you thought it was up to the same quality as other shows. I mean, I've heard different critiques, so it's fine. But I can say that when PBS, before PBS Digital Studios debuted Frankenstein MD, they were like a 2/3, like a 60%, 65% male channel audience. And then when we finished the show, at that point they were a 60% female audience channel. So we, at least at that time, I don't know what it is today. At least at that time, we had flipped their whole pie chart around, which I thought was pretty cool. So we were getting more women in the science, which can't be a bad thing, I hope.
Of course not. You've recently acquired the rights to 4 young adult titles. Is there anything you can tell us about this, or is it all still very secret?
It's pretty secret at the moment. I mean, we're developing them. I have talked to all 4 authors and couple times, just kind of picking out worlds and stuff. So I'll say that we're not committed to any type of one format. Like, it's not going to be a vlog style adaptation of Losing It, or a vlog style adaptation of Thicker Than Water. Certainly you can do it that way. We might, like, I'm not saying we are. To be clear, those titles were optioned by a different entity that was not Pemberley. So Pemberley was designed to make vlog adaptations, and if we do another show of Pemberley, which is a TBD, those will probably remain in that kind of innovative space. Canvas, on the other hand, is more of a kind of linear, kind of traditional style series. So if we were to adapt Nightmare Fair into something, say, like a Vanity type show, one of my other shows from last year, which is not a book adaptation, then that's the case of the people, powers that be, decide that this is the best case for those books. I'm very excited to do them. It was fun to do those interviews with those authors. I basically started each one with, so this is, you know, I haven't adapted work from an author that's still alive before. You know, it's like, it's a little funny thing to start with, but everyone was very, very cordial. I wanted to tell them that I'm going to honor their worlds, and I don't want to do anything that they find you know, egregious to their work and their characters. But I also encourage them that you know, at some points there have to be some open-minded changes because of different formats. As we said, you know, books are good as books and movies are good as movies. So you can't just do everything straight. I think every one of these novels so far is that, you know, we've definitely started developing or at least like I've developed my take on it. You know, like how am I going to do it? I think, you know, and I think meaning that it can change, but like I have kind of pretty clear, some more clear than others, ways of doing each of those stories, even though those if you read them as books, they may not translate straight as into a movie or into a video series or into a video blog series or into an interactive series. So there are some kind of tweaks that we have to make, and hopefully it'll be fine. TBD.
Are they still going to be published online?
I hope so. I really don't know. I mean, the industry is tricky because the bigger you get, the more resources you get to play with, which as we are, Vanity was a bigger show than Emma Proof or Lizzie Van Diaries was, and Socio, which was a pilot that I shot last year, was a bigger show than that. So we're elevating. Not saying that these 4 books have to be those. Again, they may just be vlogs again. Okay, so the less, we'll put it this way. The smaller the show, the more control we have. Mm-hmm. And that's just the case of the bigger it gets, the more players are in the game, more people have put in resources into the game, and they want to control it. And that's fine. Well, not control it. They want to have a say. And you become partners, and partners work together. So that became like, you know, the example of why was Frankenstein on PBS's channel, not Pemberley's channel, you know, the main channel, the main mm-hmm. content. It's because PBS wanted the show, and we wanted to work with PBS, and that was what we decided was best for the show, was to put on PBS. I think it was good for both of us. You know, there was still content on Pemberley's channel, and it drove to PBS, and PBS's content drove to Pemberley. Like, it was like a win-win all around. So it was great. So these are the things that happen when you have more players involved, and that's just if you're going to get into this business, whether it be online or even bigger, TV or film, you're just going to get more players, and as much as us writers want to say that we control everything, we really don't at this level. I really feel the only writers that can really control everything are the authors that self-publish. Kind of like Cormac and Losing It, like when she self-published that, like just like I'm just gonna do it, which was awesome. So and it was a hit, like good for her. So that's really it. So for Lizzie Van Diaries, we did control it. Hank and I controlled it, but it was so small when you started it that we could. And then we had someone come in, which was Kin, which we invested in, which became Pemberley, and then that became, you know, the new entity, which we controlled again. So that's the nature of the beast. Now, you know, saying you as a filmmaker or anybody watching this can shoot their own stuff on their own camera in their own room, as many people have done, and release it online, and you can do whatever the hell you want. You know, that's okay. like. Free internet right now. You can do it. It's YouTube. It's whatever. Facebook. It's whatever. So you certainly can do those things. But once you start playing in the area where you have more resources, and you have teams, and you have people to answer to, and you have guilds, and you have unions, and all this stuff, which are all good things that are part of a bigger process that protect people, that get people paid, that do all these things, it just becomes more complicated.
Yeah. You've also written The Secret Diary of Lizzie Bennet. What do you think are the main differences between writing a book and a screenplay?
Well, obviously, with the book, there was a lot more leaned on with Kate Rourke, who is I don't know what she's now, 6-time published novelist? 7? I don't know, something. So you can check her out. Her books, Kate Noble, That's her romance novelist name, K novel. With that book, it was actually. I mean, I can't really speak more of it than really that the structure was already there, because it's so close to what's happening in the show. So it was more of like from at least my side, it was more like organizing, and like Kate's a novelist. Go Kate, like, be a novelist, So it was a more organizing in that regard, and like, and I mean, now and then it's not as easy as say, oh, here are the videos. I mean, they're the videos, but as many of our fans were aware, there was so much other content flying around other places. Lydia had content, and Darcy had Twitter content, and like Darcy was tweeting and everything. So not that all of that is in the book. It's all referenced in some points. So you have to be aware of that, and it made it almost trickier. I'm guessing than just to write it straight. What I do like about the book, though, is that not that I don't like the book, but I love about the book is that I love that in the ebook version that the links to the episodes are in the ebook, so you can actually go from chapter or entry to video. That's great. like I just think it's so cool.
It is.
And then I love that the audiobook for that and the subsequent book, is read by Ashley and Mary Kate. I mean, man, that is so cool.
It is. It is amazing that you could do that.
I'm really glad that worked out, because look, I credit the Simon Schuster, because they're the ones who made that ultimate. They're the ones who made the deal. They're the ones who produced the audiobook. They're the ones who got it done. And they certainly could have done, and they're right. It's their published book. Then they're right. They could have gone. You know what? Ashley Clements has never. I don't know if she has. Ashley Clements had never read an audiobook before. Who is she? Let's get some professional in here to do it. But they had the foresight to think. You know what? What's cool? Like, Ashley Clements coming to read the audio. Let's get her. Yeah, that's great. Like,
it is.
So I'm really glad that worked out. So I mean, if anything, the Secret Diary of Lizzie Bennet gave us really 3 new experiences for the show. They gave us a book. They gave us a book with videos, which could be 1 minute experience, but it could be 2. And then they gave us the audiobook, which basically feels like a whole new show, because it is actually reading it, and she gets to do all the characters, which I think is really neat. And of course, led to the Lydia story, which was the epic adventures of Lydia Bennet, which again, 2 experiences there.
Mm-hmm. What advice would you give to writers interested in writing for television or even web series?
Well, for television, all the writers for television should go online to this podcast called The Children of Tendu, which is run by a friend of mine, Javier Grillo Marxwatch, and Jose Molina, who I haven't met like once. Anyway, it's a really good podcast. It's totally free. That will teach you everything you need to know, at least like the business-wise and everything. They don't really talk about like writing craft as much as they talk about the business, which I think is very good, because there's plenty of stuff out there talking about the writing craft.
True.
And you can actually learn all that stuff as for television where you are, because at least most of it, because you can get books and you can take online classes and you can do those things. But the business, though, that podcast is a really good resource, I think. I mean, I listen to it now. Not that I work in television, but I listen to it now, and I'm just going, oh, yeah, interesting. Like I'm like picking up stuff. So that's the advice there. Writing for television, one of the things they say in their podcast, and I'll just say this part and let you go to theirs and learn, is that if you really are serious about writing for television, you do have to eventually make a move, at least for U.S. television, you do have to make a move to L.A., which I get. Unless you want to write for the late night shows, which are in New York, Saturday Night Live, Night Show, and everything. So you have to basically plan to move to LA. Now you don't have to move to LA right now. You don't have to move to LA right now and get started. You can get started, but then you have, in order to actually have a job or get the job, I think you have to be here. They say it in the podcast. From what I experience is that's true. So there's that. For online, it's totally different. Now, it really depends on what you want to be a writer online. Like, you want to be a paid, like, hey, I want so you over there, you're doing a web series. I want to be a writer for your show. Like there's that, or you can just write yourself. So I think it's a lot simpler to write yourself. Now it's a little hard to pay yourself because you're probably not paying yourself. But it is a lot. It is a way to go. So I think for writing online, writing for someone else's show, that could be anywhere because shows are produced all over the world. Like there's not only just obviously there's a whole bevy of shows that are produced here in LA, not just our shows, but like Crack.com has shows, BuzzFeed has shows. Like these are all online web shows, whether or not those are your tastes or not. But there's also like Rooster Teeth in where is that? Texas, Austin. I'm sure there's plenty of shows out in New York, so you can be in those places and be part of teams and get better, or you can just do it yourself, which is a lot of work and struggle and stuff like that. But that is the way to go, and there's nothing stopping you from doing that. If anything, it like if I see you do that personally, I garner you more respect. I think if I'm going to consider hiring you as a writer who say doesn't have TV credits, which is totally fine. Done that before. I've hired many writers who have never had TV credits. Seeing that you've done your own show, all right. I mean, that's some cred there. That's some work. And I'm gonna, of course, watch the show and see if I like the show and like the writing. But that does show that a lot of work has been put in. So that's how I would say it.
What's the link to the podcast, by the way?
Oh, it's called Children of Tendu, Tendu.
Okay.
I'll throw it in the group chat so you can see.
Okay, and then I'll share it with the Twitter people.
There you
go. Okay.
Yeah, it's on iTunes. I don't know if it's on all the other things like SoundCloud or stuff like that. I'm hoping it is, but I listen to it off iTunes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. What is a potential project or idea you'd like to work on in the future? I know it's a hard question.
Yeah, it's a hard question because there's tons of being worked on right now. So,
or maybe if you could adapt any book, which would it be?
Oh, that's an easy answer. I would adapt Battle Royale, which is a Japanese book that has a lot of Hunger Games type things. If you know the book. And the rights are wherever they are. Oh, lights turned off. And then I'll say why. It's because that book. I'm gonna wave. Nope, no censor. Because that book, we as consumers of stories all day and watch movies, read books, we always come across that piece of work that's changed the way we look at things. And Battle Royale was the one that changed mine. So, and you go, why? That book is so violent, Bernie, blah, blah, blah. Well, let's look beyond the violence. Okay, it's a very violent book. I agree. It's not for everybody. What that book does so well, and what it taught me as a storyteller, was that all your characters are important. Now, usually with stories, you have the hero's journey, you follow that hero, and kind of everybody else services that hero's journey, whether it be man, woman, whatever, dog, right? Fish, if you're Nemo, all the way to the end. And all the characters kind of are part of that, which is fine, but characters are people too. All the characters are people too. And Battle Royale was the first book that, not that it's the first book that did it. I'm saying the book that changed the way I looked at it, because it spent so much time with all the kids who kind of were not as important as the main character, and you kind of understood why and why they were feeling, how they were reacting, and the tragedy of them eventually losing in this perfect game. And so it became the story about 42 tragedies, and all these kids who had dreams and hopes and crushes and all these desires and stuff, and all of them were squashed because they were thrown in this game. And it made me feel for all of them, even the ones that were inherently selfish or bad or corrupt or whatever. So that's what it did for me as a storyteller, and it really got me to change the way I could write point of view, which was really important for something, say, like Elizabeth Diaries, where we kind of showed everybody's point of view. Like everyone had a point of view, because everyone had Twitter accounts, and they all had points of view in the Twitter accounts. So that was the kind of the genesis of that. And so that story, Battle Royale, is a story that I've analyzed time and time again. And I think if you do it the way I would want to do it, which I'm not going to say how, it'd be way cooler than just a movie. It'd be so way cooler, and it'd be so expensive. But it'd be so way cooler.
Maybe
Yeah,
one day.
yeah, maybe one day. That's the book. That's the book I would do, and that's not a secret. That's out there. I've said it a couple times.
Okay, then picking up on that, I have a question here from the audience. What are your main influences in terms of books, television shows, cinema, and more?
All right. Oh, there it goes. Lights. Books. So Battle Royale. Aside from that, well, I'm trying to. I didn't want to list a bunch of nonfiction, but I do read a lot of nonfiction. So
No, you can talk about nonfiction.
yeah. I really don't know why. I mean, I guess it's because I work in fiction. I don't want to. I don't want to spend all my time in fiction. So, and books are things you want to dive into, you want to immerse yourself into, which I understand. So nonfiction. I like reading biographies. The Steve Jobs biography is excellent, by the way. And I like kind of like reading stories about kind of triumphs and companies and stuff like that. So like it's gonna make you sound weird, but like Moneyball is a great book. I think Moneyball is an excellent. It's a story in there, but it teaches you about resource management and valuation of people and personnel and money and statistics and overanalysis and stuff like that. And just like as a stat nerd, which I am, I love Moneyball. I think it changed my life personally. Another one that I really love, Pixar just came out a movie. It's the book by Ed Catmull, who was the founder of Pixar with Steve Jobs and John Lasseter. It's called Creativity Incorporated. That was another good one. So like there's recent ones. Those three are the books that really inspired me as far really drilling down personality wise. And then I'm reading like a lot of efficiency books. Like I'm reading the new version of getting things done. So I'm trying to like make my life more efficient, more stuff done. Because I feel I want to just get more things done and resourced and make more shows and get more people working together. And so I'm trying to cut out a lot of the fat in my life. And I'm not saying that I'm not trying to have fun. I like having fun, but we all spend our time. I still do. We all spend our time doing really stupid, inherently dumb things. In the grand scheme of things, and that's fine. And I'm just trying to making sure that the things I do spend that are inherently stupid and dumb, I choose to do that, and I'm okay with that. in the sacrifice of the 24 hours in a day against that and sleep and stuff like that. So there's that. As far as movies and television, my two favorite shows of all time are 24 and Friends. And I think they really both influenced me as a writer. Now, I feel that whether you agree or not, as a viewer, but if you put in my body of work, Lizzie, Frankenstein, Emma, Vanity, Socio, this old web series I did called Compulsions, if you look at all that body of work, I think what you'll see there is a really vast range of comedy to drama. Mm-hmm. And I'm very proud of this range. Like, I'm proud that I can do this range. And I'm not saying writers can't. I'm just saying that I'm proud that I can. Okay? And then there's certain writers out there who've kind of been stuck or who've entered and become like the sci-fi person or the horror person or the teen drama person and kind of only stayed there. And that's fine. And it's not saying that, the teen drama person can't write a comedy and the sci-fi person can't write comedy or the comedy person can't write drama. I'm not saying that either. I'm just like happy that I've kind of kept that range in my career. And I'm going to keep trying to jump around in my range. But between Friends and 24, like you have this range of taste. And I know both shows very, very well, and they both shows what they do and did in their dialogue and the way they presented format and everything, and the way they presented drama and thrills and love and hate and whatever. So those two shows are my favorite right now. If you want to say something current, I'm obsessed with Game of Thrones. 3 hours from now, we got another episode. Can't wait. Guess what I'm gonna be watching? No NBA Finals for me until
Game of Thrones.
And I'm from the Bay Area, so like the Warriors Game 7, like it matters to me. But I'm a story guy. Game of Thrones, man. 6 o'clock my time. I'm ready. So there's that. Movies. Gosh, movies are tough because let's talk about movies for a second. Movies haven't really changed in years, and I say that because the experience hasn't changed. Movies are still the same length. You go to a ticket, you buy a ticket, you sit in a theater, you leave the theater, and you get the movie. So all they really improved on really is like the seats, the 3D glasses, the sound, and the more visual effects they throw on these fight scenes, which are of course amazing and incredible, and no doubt bow to them. And they're amazing, but so those are the things I enjoy watching. So I watched, I watched the Marvel movies, I watched Mad Max, I watched the movies, and I found I enjoyed them, and even the animations, like Zootopia was surprisingly excellent. Not that I expected it bad, but it was I expected to be good, but it was way better than I expected it to be. And these movies are, I don't know, I don't look at the movie and go, oh, I could do that. I should be doing that. I should be yanking 7 cars from a top story of a building for the Fast and Furious 8 stuff, which they did. It looks crazy, but awesome. Can't wait. But I don't think to myself as a storyteller that, oh, I need to be the guy yelling action to see all these cars fly out of the air, or Iron Man flying in the air. I'm okay with that. So it's really rare for me to see a movie that really influences me in a different way. So, but I'll name a couple that do. Slumdog Millionaire was definitely one of those. I thought that influenced me a lot in a way. I actually wanted to like Room more than I did, but I didn't. I'm not sure why. So hold on that one. But Room is that's a me type of movie. That's like a movie that I would have taken a challenge on. Oh, a one-room movie, yeah, let's try it. That's my type of as a filmmaker, that's my type of movie. As a film watcher, it's not. So it's just kind of the different way I look at watching and making. So as I say, Game of Thrones, as a TV watcher, I love it. But as a TV writer, I would and my point in my career, I wouldn't write Game of Thrones right now. I could just very much enjoy it. It's awesome.
What about comic books?
What about what?
Comic books.
Oh, well, I've been reading a lot of the Image Kirkman stuff. So I haven't kept. I grew up with a lot of the Marvel comic books, but I honestly have not kept up to date. So I'm not there. But I was reading Invincible and Walking Dead. I don't watch Walking Dead, but I read Walking Dead, which is weird. Maybe because I just want that to be my Walking Dead. I don't know why. But yeah, yes.
Okay. Actually, the current Marvel books have been making some weird changes to the characters.
Yeah,
I'm speaking of Captain America being Hydra.
Whatever that, yeah, I don't buy that.
That's not a spoiler because it was everywhere, But
yeah, I know, but I when I saw that, I'm just that's just part of a bigger plan where he's actually a double agent, and he's that's my thing. I don't follow Captain America. That's just the instant I saw that, it's okay, he's just being a double agent, or he's being a triple agent, or whatever it is.
I hope so.
He's not a Hydra agent. Come on.
True. There's another question here. You've spoken a little bit about this, but why did you choose YouTube for your projects over other video platforms?
Well, now it's really timing. Lizzie Bennett Diaries came out in a time where there really was YouTube, and there was really no other choice. YouTube was the biggest. It still technically is. But today there's some other avenues you can go here now. Facebook video, arguably as popular, maybe more, maybe less. I don't know the stats, but it seems that way. I think I watch just as much video on Facebook now as I do on YouTube. And then Snapchat, right? Snapchat didn't exist when Lizzie Bennett Diaries started. Let me point that out. I think it just started when Emma started. So that's another thing. And then Facebook, when Lizzie Bennett Diaries started, Facebook was dying. It was it was really struggling when Lizzie Bennett Diaries started. So it was really just a timing choice. I think if you did Lizzie Bennett Diaries today, you make some other considerations. I don't know what they are, but you would have to consider these other things because even now Twitter is in my opinion, not as strong as it was in 2013.
There's Vimeo too. I think there was Vimeo at the time, right?
There is Vimeo, but Vimeo doesn't have the audience. YouTube had the audience.
True.
If you're looking at Vimeo, Vimeo is good at a lot of things, but Vimeo is not great at audience. I think even Vimeo would tell you that.
Yeah, it's for different types of projects and videos, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, this here is not a question, but it's someone saying that they really liked how you exposed how Lydia's relationship was abusive and how you dealt with that.
Great. I'm gonna.
It's not a question. It's just someone saying they liked it.
Shout out to Rachel Kiley, Mary Kay Wiles, and Wesley Atherhold, who did the heavy lifting in that part. I was just more the facilitator of keeping that train going. But shout out to them. You should check. You should follow them on Twitter and Facebook, whatever, and see that they work.
Okay, and I think that's all. I don't have more questions from the audience. I'd just like to ask you, what projects are you working on right now that the viewers could support, or are you just in between projects?
In between. Look, I don't want to raise hopes on everything, but I don't want to be like, oh, it's never happening, which is not true. So, I guess I can say this. I think the more time that passes, the less likely an Emma proof continuation will go. We've tried. We've tried several different things. And I just don't want to go. I didn't want to go to crowdfunding with that one. People go to crowdfunding. I think we did crowdfunding with the DVDs, and it did great. I don't know. I'm just something about what happened last time just morally didn't feel like crowdfunding was the way to go with that one. So there's that, and the likeliness of a Frankenstein continuation is also unlikely now too. The likeness of other Pemberley works, well, that's still being developed. So we are still working on things. The soonest stuff will be probably announced, if at all, will be mid-late summer, I want to say. We're still on what we're trying to do there. And the flip side, I'm still working on my other projects that I've been doing under the Canvas banner, which doesn't include me from the Pemberley banner. And of course, Canvas does include the 4 books, YA book adaptations, Tick in the Water, Losing It, Devil in the Deep Blue Sea, Between the Devil and the Blue Sea, and
The Nightmare Affair.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Bernie, for agreeing to do this and being here with us today.
You're welcome. Pleasure to be here.
That's all for today, everyone. So join us tomorrow for more panels on BooksDotCon. Goodbye. Thank you.